Hi, in this video I'm going to explain a little bit about my thought process on how I animate the face in multiple angles in After Effects. But before we begin, I would like to mention that this is a teaser lesson for our upcoming class on Class 101 titled Introduction to Animating in After Effects. It's currently on pre-sale and is on a discounted price until the launch date, which is on March 10. The link is in the description. So if you plan on taking that class, you would already be able to experience my teaching style through this video and maybe help with purchase decision. Or if not, at least you would be able to learn something from this video. Now let's begin. Chapter 5 of the class would focus specifically on face animation, and for complex face animation, I'd like to use path animation because I can manipulate the specific points in the path of a shape. But before we can effectively use path animation in this case, we need to know how the head behaves in 3D space. In this example, I'd like to focus particularly on the hair. Imagine this is the camera. If we draw two horizontal lines, then we see the perceived length. Now, if we have the head to look down, the perceived length of the hair is longer. And if we have it look up, the perceived length is shorter. That's because looking down, we can now see the top part of the hair, whereas it is hidden looking up. Okay, so how do we use this information in After Effects? So if we are to make the character to look down, we need to lengthen the perceived length of the hair. A common mistake would be to just move the face and not the hair. It would make your character look odd. If we also have the character to look up, we should also shorten the perceived length of the hair. And that's just the hair. How about the eyes, nose, ears, and mouth in relation to each other? Let's go back again to our example and let's draw horizontal lines on each part. Let's focus on the distance. Let's see what happens if the head look down. Notice the difference? There's not much difference in the distance between the eyes to the nose, but notice from nose to mouth, you'll see that it's much more compressed. And also from mouth to chin, it's also much more compressed. How about looking up? If we compare it to our first angle, we'll notice that there's not much difference to the distance between the chin to the mouth and mouth to the nose. The big difference lies in the distance from the nose to the eyes. Now it looks more compressed. Now let's use this information in After Effects. So here is an After Effects project file, and I already have set this up. I'm not anymore gonna walk you through the step-by-step process of this. That would be in the class. But for this video, I just would like to focus specifically on the animation part. So just to briefly explain, I have prepared different nulls which the layers are connected to. This one is the one that controls the overall head, and this one for the ears, and we have a different controller for the brows, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So let's animate this from looking straight at the camera to looking down. So I'm just gonna select from the brows to mouth, and I'm gonna press P, and I'm just gonna create a keyframe, and then let's move forward in time, maybe around here, and let's just drag this down because the character is looking down. If we don't include the hair, it's gonna look weird. It's just going to be like that. So I'm just gonna bring the working timeline here, and I'm gonna click spacebar and preview this. So it's gonna look weird. As I've mentioned before, if we look down, the perception of the hair should also lengthen. So let's also animate the hair. So I'm gonna select this and press P, create a keyframe here, and move forward in time. And let's also animate this down. And since it has this space here, I'm gonna click 2 times the letter U in the keyboard. So this one would appear, and I'm also going to animate the path. So now it's gonna look like that. Again, the other rules that we also have discovered is that the mouth, the distance between the nose and the mouth would be a bit more compressed. So I'm just gonna move this up. And the distance from mouth to chin would also be compressed. So I'm just gonna select all of this because I think this is now in the right distance or spacing. And I'm just gonna bring it down. And now let's have a look at this character looking down. So now it looks more a bit natural. And aside from the face moving down, you also need to animate the head moving down, right? Because when we look down, we also move the neck, which in turn would change the position of the head overall. So I'm just also gonna add keyframe here and just bring this down. And let's just select all of our keyframes and just press F9, which is the shortcut for easy ease. And let's just extend this so that it's not too fast, maybe at 1 second mark. And that's the looking down. Now let's try have the character to look up. So let's just duplicate this comp. This is that comp, this head animation. I'm just gonna duplicate this, and the shortcut is Command D. So I'm gonna double click here so that we're in the head animation 2 composition. And now I'm just gonna delete this because this one is the keyframe for the look down. We're gonna do the look up now. So I'm gonna delete everything, and then I'm just gonna move forward in time here at 1 second mark. And let's have this to look up. So what was that again when we look up? Let's first select the from browse to mouth, and then have this to go up, move up like that. And if we don't move the hair, again, it's gonna look weird. So we're also gonna include the hair and have this move up like that. And I'm just gonna edit the path so that the perception of this would be a bit thinner. So now let's have a look. And what are the other rules that we were able to identify is that the distance of the nose to the eyes would also be compressed. So I'm just gonna bring this a bit upward. So if I'm gonna bring that, we should also consider that the distance of the from nose to mouth should be maintained. So I'm just gonna undo it and just select them both, the mouth and the nose, and bring them up. This way, we were able to maintain the distance or the spacing from the nose to the mouth, but make the distance from eyes to nose a bit more compressed. Now, what is the other part that should be maintained? It's the chin. Right now, we have a very big chin. So what we can do is we can manipulate the path of the head. So I'm just gonna move to our head here, and I'm just gonna create a keyframe for the path of this head and bring this here. And then now we can modify this, and I'm just gonna modify the chin so that the gap here would be almost consistent. So I think that's about correct. Now I'm just gonna select this and press F9. This is easy ease. Now when we do that, the neck is a bit weird now. So what we need to do is we need to bring the head down so that it still would fit on the neck. So I'm just gonna click the head controller here and move forward in time on the 1 second mark here, and I'm just gonna bring this down to make this more correct. And if we want to like clean this up a bit, right, we can modify as many layers or as many paths as we want. So for example here, we could modify also the neck. So this is why I like animating the path when the face animation is a bit complex, because you have more freedom to like make some fixes. So here, the neck isn't separated; it's connected to the body. It's just one path. So I'm gonna create a keyframe here. Move this back here, and this one I'm just gonna modify this a bit, and select this and press F9, shortcut for easy ease. And now we have this character looking up, and this is just the distance. We didn't talk about the shape dynamics, like when the head would look up, the shape of the eye would also change, the shape of the nose would also change, the shape of the mouth would also change, and we would tackle that in the class. But for this video, I think this is enough explanation. And I think so currently the hair is a bit static. Could also modify the shape of the hair, and we can do that by again animating the path or the specific points. So when we look up, this part should move down, this part here should move down. So this is just the basics of face animation. And this concludes our teaser lesson. And this is only one of the topics I'll teach in class. And there's more to discuss, like various facial expressions, overlapping actions like the hair, the easing, and a lot more things. And if you're interested to learn with me, then you can check out the link in the description below. And I think that's it. Thanks, and hope to see you in class. Bye for now, and see you soon.